Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and as you can see from the title of this video, we have to talk about the most awkward interview ever. Okay, during this interview for the Messy Monday show between Carlos King and Dr. Heavenly with Trisha from Love and Marriage Huntsville, there were a couple of interesting things that were said mixed in with, again, a lot of awkwardness. Definitely, but I will say on a serious level, Trisha does have like blockages up. So hopefully she can get all of that worked out so that she can relax and kind of let go a little bit. But we're going to get into it all. We definitely have to take our time. And then Dr. Heavenly actually went live after their Messy Monday show because, Carlos King started pre-recording them a couple of months ago. I honestly think that between Mellometers being in the chat, giving their opinions, and all of the super chats that people generously give with Dr. Heavenly, I think that it all made Carlos a little uncomfortable. So then he started pre-recording them. But during her live, kind of like an afterglow, if you will, of the interview, Dr. Heavenly said that when her show Married to Medicine comes back on, she is going to do the reviews live. So maybe Carlos King will be open to doing the Messy Monday show live again. I don't know. But let's get into this interview, y'all. So I ask that you please hit the like button on this video. You knew it was coming. I'd really appreciate it. Then YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy discussing the various topics surrounding Love and Marriage Huntsville. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit. I would definitely love to have you as one of the showstoppers. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed for criticism. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have notes and, of course, sound bites. And I just really, I'm going to express my opinion. And at the same time, I'm going to keep in the back of my mind Trisha's losses, because I do think that that creates a barrier. And she's going to say something during the interview that's definitely sad and even a little disturbing. And I believe that that ties into the awkwardness. Okay, so we all know, we've seen in recent episodes where she said that she met Martell in 2020. And, we've heard her say in earlier episodes that she knows Martell because she went to school with his brother Montez. And then, she kind of formally got to know him in 2020. Martell said that she was over to his house. She lied to Destiny and Stormy and said that, oh, I never made it to his house. But in a scene with Ken, because she knew that that scene was going to air and he would see it, then she just confessed to Ken that she had been over to Martell's house. Well, during her interaction with Martell, she said that he admitted to still having Melody on his mind. This was back in 2020. And I will say this, Trisha, if allegedly you were just meeting up with Martell to train him or to talk about fitness, I do not know how y'all go from talking biceps and triceps and squats and burpees to talking about his wife at the time that left him because he got another girl pregnant and was disrespectful. I don't know how you go from squats and burpees to talking about his loving, beautiful wife, but okay. Trisha said that she was separated when she met Ken because we know that Marquez was saying when he and Trisha were still married that Ken was pushing up on Trisha then. Now, I do want to point out that Carlos asked Trisha, when you met Ken, were you single? And Trisha goes, oh yeah, I was separated when I met Ken. Oh my gosh, Trisha, no. Being separated, in Ebony's opinion, is not being single. Being separated is being separated. Even when you apply for a mortgage and you're asked your relationship status, are you single, married, or separated? The two are different. So I kind of feel like you need to tie up all your loose ends before, you get into something else. But according to her, she's like, oh yeah, I was separated when I met Ken. Now, when asked if she was attracted to Martell, Carlos asked this question. She said that she wasn't attracted to anyone at the time. She said that Martell didn't try anything with her. She said that she was just trying to um, train people and just kind of make it through each day because of all of the loss that she has experienced. We know that she lost both of her parents just 7 months apart, as well as her sister. They all had health issues. I'm sure she would say preventable health issues. And she talked about her exercise routine. It's really wild. She said in the morning before work, she exercises for 4 hours. And then throughout the day, she goes back to the gym. So to me, it sounds like she burns off every single calorie that she takes in. She's not allowing like any calories to turn into stored body fat. She is burning it all. But I was like, whoa, 4 hours. And they were all tripping like, oh my gosh, you work out for 4 hours a day. And then to find out that she returns to the gym throughout the day, I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, with her being a fitness trainer, I guess it makes sense that she would return to train other people. But yeah, the workout routine was crazy. She said she's always been a very picky eater, so she never really had to modify her eating to get really healthy. She says she's really picky and loves vegetables. Now, you may be wondering, where the heck is Ken? Well, Dr. Heavenly shared your sentiments. She had that question as well. And this is how the conversation went.
When it comes to Ken, did Ken back out because of Dr. Heavenly? She just said it. Not so what she said. You can tell it's in the air. We listen to her. We listen every Monday, just about, So wait a minute. So you listen. So tell me this, because a lot of times I say things and I probably don't realize. Was there something that I said that may have been offensive to him? Now, Dr. Him, what you don't say don't be offensive to people. Don't be offensive. That's interesting, because I feel like I haven't said anything that wasn't that obvious on TV. Like, what? Well, yeah, wow. But, it's like, I think it's like, because we love you. I'm telling you, we'll be ready to tune in. Because I'm like, yes, I love that. And like, oh yeah, I definitely gonna eat your ass. I'm like, baby, let's go, let's do it. Because I love the way you talk. But the interesting thing is, I haven't said anything bad about Ken. I always say things about Ken. That's true. I guess he didn't know how this interview was gonna quite go. And recently, social media has not been friendly. To him, really to him or to you? Either side. On either side. So how do you feel? It's been rough. How do you feel when people call you lockjaw? They said that you speak through your teeth. They're like, the only time she opens up her mouth wide is when she's talking to Martell. How do you feel when people say that about you? Yes, that was bullshit. But I would say, in the beginning, yeah, I was nervous as hell. I'm like, Lord, this is a lot. So I didn't quite speak up, and I didn't really know how to, because this is like the first time I've ever done anything remotely to being filmed. Anything. So sweet. Like, Martell, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. I see why Ken likes you. He could tell you just nervous as hell, but you pushed through. It was hard. Now, don't get me wrong. It was hard. I did, but it was definitely hard. I think I had to have a pep talk like every time we done it.
Okay. So she said that Ken chose to back out of the interview because I guess he gets nervous thinking about Dr. Heavenly and what her questions would be. I believe that once Dr. Heavenly realized that she made Ken that uncomfortable that he did not do the interview, that was when Dr. Heavenly decided she was going to soften herself up. She was going to gas Trisha up throughout this interview. And in her live recap after this pre recorded video aired, she said that, it was like some awkwardness. She kind of alluded to it, but she was really going throughout multiple subjects because people were also asking her thoughts on Phaedra returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So her conversation on her commentary on the interview didn't really flow because she was constantly going back to Married to Medicine and Roa questions. But I think that's very interesting. Now, Ken was comfortable interviewing with Dustin Ross, but definitely not so much with Dr. with Dr. Heavenly. But I feel like that is why she gassed Trisha up throughout the interview, because I think she was like, oh shit, this Incredible Hulk man actually was uncomfortable to talk with me. So I think she like softened up quite a bit. And I just want to circle back briefly to my notes of when Carlos asked Trisha, was she attracted to Martell? And she said, I wasn't attracted to anybody. I want to say that I feel like, as usual, Trisha, I don't think she's being 100% honest. I could see her saying, well, yeah, I thought he was cute, but I really honestly was not in the market of trying to date anyone or have any sort of tryst with anyone because of everything that I was facing in my marriage and losing loved ones. So like I saw him, but I really didn't see him. But the way she like looked into the distance, looked away, didn't look in her webcam and was like, well, I didn't find anybody attractive. I'm like, okay, girl. But I think, it goes back to that discomfort. And that's when she may, tell like a little fib. Now, Carlos said that a man introduced Trisha to Martell, and there were people in the chat, they were giving their guesses. Dr. Heavenly guessed Marceau, and Trisha just kind of sat there, of course. Carlos said, well, Dr. Heavenly, I'm going to let you know that it was not Marceau. I think it's Chris Fletcher. The reason why I do is because when I think of Trisha being a trainer, always being in the gym, I don't think that the Scotts take exercise that seriously. So I don't see them being in the gym that often where they would see her, they become gym pals. That is a thing for you to become cool with the folks that you see in the gym all the time. I don't think they're there enough to bump into Trisha and be cool with her. I don't see Marceau or Maurice paying a fitness trainer to train them because they know that would be a waste of their money. So I just don't see them having that rapport with her where they were introduced Trisha to Martell. I also feel the same about Courtney, Stormy's husband. So I don't think that he was the male castmate that introduced her to Martell. That only leaves Chris Fletcher. So I'm really baffled though, because it was originally, Martell through his brother Montez, then you and Martell kind of somehow hooked up. When I say hooked up, I don't mean intimate. I mean, they linked up at his house or they didn't quite make it. Now it's an introduction through a cast member. I mean, oh my gosh. So if the cast member story is true and my guesses are correct that it's Chris Fletcher, Chris ain't ish because bruh, back in 2020, that legally Martell was still married to Melody. You knew that Melody left him, but were you already trying to help him move on? And that he had the side chick that was the home wrecker to begin with. But I kind of take this info with a grain of salt, that a male cast member introduced Trisha and Martell. I take it with a grain of salt because of all of the different scenarios that they've met. It's been all over the place. I feel like the most realistic one is, she knows Martell through Montez. Now, Montez, we know we've seen him on the show. It was during season 6. We saw him in a scene with Martell, like at his house, and then we saw him at the Black Expo in Huntsville. So if Carlos is just like playing it up and saying because Montez has been on the show, oh, a male cast member introduced Trisha and Martell, then that is a possibility, but that would be really silly, right? But if it's true that a cast member introduced them, I can only come up with Chris Fletcher because he does work out. What do you all think? Who do you think that male cast member is? Now, again, she is awkward on camera. She did admit to getting nervous every time she had to film a scene for Love and Marriage Huntsville. During this interview, she's not very specific. Sometimes she even answers in yes or no questions, which is like wild to me. She's a good example of needing some media training. I remember like a few years ago when Destiny Payton interviewed with Lula Habera. Lula Habera runs the Love and Marriage Huntsville Instagram page. And I felt like Destiny was hella rude to her. I remember DMing Carlos a few years ago and I said, can you give Destiny media training? She's very rude. And these people are giving her like free promotion and promoting the show by even interviewing her. And then she like tightened up her attitude when she interviewed with the Ooh Ladies First panel. She knew not to try it with them. But Lula is like so sweet. She was just so mean to her. Now I feel like Trisha needs media training, but for different reasons. She's not rude or has a bad attitude, but she needs to know, almost treat this like a job interview. You wouldn't answer a potential employer like yes, no, and all these awkward pauses. She was doing that during this interview. And I'm surprised that Carlos did not even bother to prep her and say, you want to answer in an open-ended way. As an example, Dr. Heavenly asked her, so like, have you started the divorce proceedings? And like Trisha sometimes would start answering a question once she hears it and she can tell what it is. So there would be crosstalk. And then she was like, yes. And Dr. Heavenly was like, oh, okay. She was expecting her to say more. And she was like, I have. Like, okay, so then Dr. Heavenly just moved on. But Trisha, you could have said, oh, yes, I have filed. I did not wait for Marquez because he never filed. He didn't ask me for my half of the $400 fee. So I just went on ahead and did it. Nothing like that. She was just like, yes. And then a pause. I have. So it's just so weird. And I just wanted to point that out. But I don't want to say it was a train wreck. I did write that down. One of the worst interviews ever, a train wreck. And then something happened. So Carlos asked Trisha about the current state of her relationship with Ken. And she said that he asked her when was the last time that they had an argument. And she said it was just today. She said that Ken was on the road today, but she said that they had a fight about social media. And this was how that conversation went.
Talk to Ken. Have y'all spoken today? No. Are you afraid that you may lose Ken? How do I say this? Do I want to lose him? No. And for me, it's hard to say. Well, no, I take it back. Am I afraid to lose him? Yes and no. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've lost so much in life. It's kind of, I can tell myself now that, God only lent my kids to me for a little while, just to expect the unexpected of life. So it's like, yes and no. I am, but it's like, if life happens, for me, life been happening. So she has a blocker that she's prepared for whatever. I get it. Can I give you a little advice, darling? Give her a lot of advice because I'm emotional. Like real talk. And I want you to hear from Heavenly, who's a married woman for over 20 years. I'm not married, so I'd rather you hear this from her. What I will say before Heavenly starts is this, okay? I always tell people that reality stars are the superheroes of the industry. And I do mean that. I'm so protective of the reality TV and the stars because you guys are the bravest in the industry. You know, actors can hide behind a character and be who they want to be when they leave set, right? And nobody judges them in their real life because they don't know them in their real life. They know the character that they play. Musicians can hide behind their music, right? Reality stars, you guys are judged every single day for living your real life out loud in front of the world. And I'm so protective of all of my cast in the sense of I'm always making sure that you guys have an outlet. And what I want you to know is it's very challenging, especially your first season, to read the comments. And trust me, I get it. What I want to offer you is this. Always remind yourself nobody knows you or Ken when you guys are at home together where there's no cameras before the show or even after the show. And I don't want you guys to be faced with the commentary because that's never going to go away. It just isn't.
Okay. So, Carlos noticed that they had a fight today over social media. He asked her, was she worried about losing Ken? And she said yes and no. And I think for the yes is because she's lost so many loved ones that she, including her marriage, there's different forms of loss, not just loss of loved ones. It could be the loss of a job that you really enjoyed, or perhaps if you put your identity in your job, a big no-no, and then you lose it, that can be devastating. When this country was in a recession, people lost really coveted jobs, and which led to them losing their homes. That's traumatic. Those huge losses, and there's different types, but Trisha has lost 3 loved ones from her immediate family, plus the loss of her marriage. The marriage did not work out. So Trisha actually said that she tells herself that God is only lending her children to her for like a short period of time. And I thought that was sad. That's a tough way to live. And that's a really tough coping mechanism that Trisha has created. And if Queen Sheba checks out their Messy Monday show and hears that soundbite, I would love to hear Queen Sheba's take on that, because I feel like Trisha has created a very sad coping mechanism to try and survive each day after losing all 3 of those people. She said that when her sister passed, she was in her arms when she passed away. So Trisha has had a lot of sad, traumatic experiences. And I think that is kind of like painting her world, and it's coming in her physicality. It's coming off as like awkward. But I thought that was like really sad to hear. Now, Dr. Heavenly, during this interview, she called Trisha brutally honest. And again, I felt like she was gassing her up. I think for a couple of reasons. Again, one, because she said Ken was kind of nervous to interact with Dr. Heavenly. And 2, Dr. Heavenly could sense her awkwardness and she was trying to like make up for it. But if you checked out the Messy Monday show, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. So then again, Dr. Heavenly went live on her YouTube channel immediately after the interview ended. And she just wanted to see what questions people had. I think that she probably felt like the viewers would sense the awkwardness. So she wanted to try and like fill in the gaps. People mainly, honey, just wanted to talk about Phaedra returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I cannot believe Bravo let that lady do a whole additional season on Married to Medicine, earn that paycheck. That was probably $500,000 at least. And then she's going to earn even more money than that to do Roa. Bravo is acting so desperate. But anyway, um, this young lady, she posted the comment, true PYT, true pretty young thing. Carlos can't be fired from the show he created. Y'all not thinking. And this is what Dr. Heavenly had to say.
Let's see, Carlos can't be fired from the show he created. Y'all not thinking. I don't know, Carlos ain't gonna be fired. I think Carlos does a great job at reality TV. It is what it is. Y'all know what y'all want and need. Y'all want drama. If without drama, the shows would not continue. Y'all know that. I mean, when y'all say that, doesn't make sense. And one thing I want to tell y'all is I want to try to start doing campaign conversations, talking about the campaign.
Okay, so she said that confidently, ain't nothing gonna happen to Carlos. He knows what he's doing. And that was what she said on that. Now, I was actually taking notes. I was like getting my notes and thoughts together to make this video. So I didn't really see all of her live chat when she went live after the interview. So this comment from True Pretty Young Thing, I don't know if she was responding to other people in the chat who were talking about Carlos. I assume she was for her to type this because, again, a lot of the comments in the live chat were about Phaedra returning to Roa, having done Married to Medicine. So there had to be someone in that live chat that mentioned Carlos, and Dr. Heavenly noticed this young lady's comment and gave her reaction to that. But I thank you all so much for checking out this video. I always appreciate the support. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. We survived Monday. It was not a manic Monday. I am so thankful. It was a magnificent Monday. I cannot complain. And tomorrow will be a terrific Tuesday. And just prepare yourself tonight to have a smooth morning. I don't want you to have to rush. Stand in the mirror, say your affirmations. If it feels a little funny to you, that will go away with time as you continue to say your affirmations. Same thing with prayer. If you haven't always tapped into your spirit, your spirituality, that awkwardness will fall away the more and more that you pray, I promise. And so I will talk with you all very soon. Bye.